In this episode of the Intentional Mom podcast, we are going to be talking about RE words, as in the prefix RE. I love RE words. According to the dictionary, RE, the prefix of RE, means again, back or backward. And I guess that's why I love these words. They embody everything I stress as a life coach: your ability to move forward, your ability to never stay stuck, and that progress is always progress. These things all speak to second chances, and in reality, you can choose and should choose to try again nearly on the daily. So, three of these powerhouse RE words, what they mean, and how to apply them to your life are coming up on this episode of the Intentional Mom podcast. Well, hey there, I am Jennifer Roskamp, a certified life coach and homeschool mom of 9 who is passionate about helping women just like you embrace the here and now while also being focused on creating the life you actually want. In reality, it's not about thinking life will get so much better or so much easier when you fill in the blank. Let's work on creating a life you love now. So let's dive in and get started on redefining Supermom to be someone who is present, intentional, and content rather than perfect in our homes, in our lives, and in our own skin. Let's get started. This is the Intentional Mom Podcast. So RE words are so powerful. And it's interesting because I find that as I go about coaching myself and others, I'm constantly discovering RE words that are so powerful that I keep uncovering and discovering them. I find myself searching for a word in a situation where I'm trying to help someone move forward, again, or myself. And without even realizing it, I reach for an RE word. And nearly every time I do, I am reminded of just how many of these RE words I love, which is why I started to keep a list of them a few months ago. That list is getting pretty long, let me just tell you. So today I have 3 powerful RE words, just choosing a few of the 3 most powerhouse words. These really are 3 words that I feel like every woman needs to have in her vocabulary, almost in her arsenal and her toolbox, in terms of things that will help you navigate through daily life. Uh, Things that serve again as powerhouse reminders of your ability to move forward, to stay unstuck, to equip yourself to be able to take action that is going to help you do these things, move forward, experience progress, get unstuck. So I hope you're ready to take notes because these are going to be 3 that, again, I would suggest you keep a list of. Keep a list of what these RE words, what they mean, and maybe some times in which they'll be helpful to use. So the first word is reset. To me, this kind of means it's kind of a 2-step process. It's putting a stop to what has been happening. It's kind of like drawing your line in the sand, and then it's trying again. It's kind of saying, okay, back up the bus and let's try to get in the parking spot again. This is what I think of when I think of reset. So, in the adult world, a reset is really kind of the equivalent to a toddler timeout. But it's kind of a mommy timeout, which, let's be real, are helpful and necessary at times. Sometimes during certain seasons of life, I find they're more necessary than others. So, when it comes to a reset, here's how to do it well. Step 1 is to quiet your mind. It's really, I guess, first to get to a quiet environment where you can be on your own. And it doesn't mean you need a ton of time. A reset can literally be done in 3 minutes or less. Now, there are times where if you had a little bit more time, you can kind of separate yourself from the stressors, the triggers, the feelings of stress, overwhelm, frustration, anxiety, whatever it was that you were feeling when you discovered, you know what, I really need a reset. The more time and distance you're able to put between those triggering events and kind of the reentry period, the better. But you really can do this in under 3 minutes when you need to. So it starts by getting to that quiet place, though, where you can be alone and quieting your mind. Truly, just try to move all thoughts out of your mind. Just try to picture quiet, picture a blank slate, picture nothingness. Maybe picture a deserted island or quiet place in the woods, whatever kind of is your happy place. Picture being there and on your own if that helps you quiet your mind. Once you've done that, you're ready to clear your mind. Think of all of those things that just triggered you in the recent past. Again, those things that caused you to say, "You know what? This is a thing. I need a timeout." Clear your mind of all of those things. Stop trying to analyze those. Give yourself permission to just set those aside for now and for as much time as you can afford going forward. Again, when we're trying to deal with things, we're trying to fix things, we're trying to overcome things, we're trying to figure things out, when we are able to put a little bit more time in between us realizing the need and us actually figuring it out or solving it or putting things into action, the more time we can kind of have to separate those two things, the more perspective we get, and usually the better solutions we come up with. And the more energy, the more quality we bring to the forward movement. We bring a better version of ourselves when we've had a little bit of perspective and a little bit of time to just kind of, again, take a full reset. But step number 2 is that you are going to clear your mind. Step number 3 is to take a deep breath in and out. We know the power of just deep breathing and really just taking a few deep breaths. I'm not the only one to talk about these things. And there's physiological evidence that supports how this is such a powerful way to uh, cleanse, let go of, again, regain perspective, reset yourself, recalibrate yourself, recalculate yourself, and to just kind of move forward in a different way. But step 3 really is to take a deep breath or two in and out. And again, when we do this, the most powerful way to kind of take that breath out is to picture all of the undesired thoughts, all of the undesired feelings, all of the undesired emotions leaving your body at the same time. Another really powerful way you can enhance this particular step is to maybe just hold your breath a little bit. You take the deep breath in and you hold it in and then you release it out. I think that just kind of makes for a more powerful release. At least that's the way that I experience it. So that is a little add-on that you can do there. And then the fourth step is to re-enter your situation, also known as the re-entry. Once you've gone through steps 1, 2, and 3, you really can emerge into the re-enter yourself into what you kind of stepped away from for a moment or two. You can do that with a renewal about yourself. With that reset, you kind of re-enter as a little bit of a different person. You've got a little bit more that you filled your cup with. You approach the situation, and even if you're walking straight back into the struggle, you're approaching it with a little bit more of yourself with which to do that. So that's the first R. It's reset. That's the first RE word. The second RE word is recovery. Recovery. And even just in hearing that word, I feel a sense of just relief. I feel, to me, recovery means better. Recovery means fixing myself. It's such a powerful word. But for our purposes here, to me, recovery is a delayed timeout. When we talked about the timeout for the reset, this is a longer version of that. It's a time that you take as a mom to unplug from the things that cause you stress on a regular basis. It's a longer state of unplugging and really doing some intentional self-care, which doesn't have to be a lot of time. It doesn't have to be super involved. Self-care doesn't mean hour-long bubble baths. Self-care can be quick and simple, yet powerful. In reality, self care looks different for everyone, and it can even look different for the same person in different situations. But recovery is giving yourself the time and space to be still with yourself, to breathe life back into yourself in some way, and to do really a more complete healing on your physical, emotional, and mental well being. I don't know about you, but there are certain times throughout my day when my mental well being certainly needs a little bit of recovery. So, here's how to do recovery well. First, you're going to watch for physical cues. You're going to watch for physical cues for when you need some recovery, for when you need that extended time out. Some of these physical cues, there's many, but these are some that I have really drawn out from my experience and really just in experiences with coaching clients these past few days. Watch for physical cues like jittery, like experiencing a lack of sleep. You're trying to sleep, and no matter how much you're trying to sleep, you're finding sleep difficult. Or maybe it's excessive sleep. It could be a change in how you usually look at or do things, right? Think about those times where if you're typically able to look at certain situations in a more positive way, if you get kind of stuck in a funk where you're looking at things more in a negative way. You find yourself just being more negative, more glass half empty than you normally are. These are some cues to watch for. Of course, there's a rise in breathing rate. Sometimes that happens when things like anxiety or even panic set in. It could be feelings that feeling in the pit of your stomach, that feeling deep in your heart. Maybe it's a feeling of heaviness in your head or even a heaviness in your heart. And again, of course, there are more physical cues to look for, but these are just fairly common ones. And when it comes to doing recovery, take it however you can get it. When you need this more extended time off, it could mean that you need to take a sick day from work. It could mean that you need a day of more screens for the kids. It could mean canceling plans that you even were looking forward to, but you just don't have the bandwidth. Of course, you do what feels right for you, but these things would all be on the table for me when it comes to providing a time of recovery for myself. So, recovery, that's the second RE word. And that brings us to the third RE word, and that is reassess. So, this is a skill I teach in my coaching community and work with all my clients on. Uh, it's called reassessment, and it basically means so by the way, we believe in this so much in my coaching community called Accomplished Lifestyle. We believe in this skill so much. We do it every single week. We practice the skill of reassessment 3 times as a community every single week. And so this is such a valuable skill to know. Okay, so basically, reassessment means reconciling. Interestingly, reconciling is also an RE word. We don't think about it because we say it a little bit different. It doesn't start with the same sound of but reconciling is also an RE word. Just thought I would point that out. So it's a reconciling between what you thought would happen or the way you thought things would be and what your current reality shows you about these things. It's what the difference between what you thought your life at any particular point would look like. And that doesn't even have to be a big thing. It can be this is how I thought my morning would go, or this is how I thought my day would go, or this is how I thought my week would unravel. But you're discovering, you know what? That's really not how it went at all. So you might be saying things to yourself like, I thought my afternoon, I'd be able to do this afternoon. But now this has happened. And so that's not going to be possible. It's really when a series, when something or when a series of some things don't go the way that you had planned, and you've got to figure out the plan B. Or maybe it's the plan E or F or G. But it's when you need to figure out a new plan. So here's how to do reassessment well. It really is just a math formula, which is interesting because I am not a fan of math. I wasn't a fan of math when I was doing it as a student. And there are times when I am not a fan of math even now. I'm going to share something and be totally vulnerable and say, right now, as a homeschool mom, I am struggling with some areas of fifth grade math. I don't know what that says about me, but that is how much of a fan I am not a fan of math. Probabilities, probabilities, I think, are going to kill me in fifth grade math. That's a whole nother conversation. And clearly, I need to figure something out. But a math formula, I'm amazed at how often I go to a math formula as a way to help me, again, find a way through something, to overcome something, to process something. But reassessment really is a math formula where you are looking at, this is what I thought things would look like, and this is how I thought they would look now. What can stay the same with my original plan, and what has to change? It really kind of becomes similar to a math formula or that way where you're plugging in the details. So the details you need to plug in are what I thought things would look like. List those out. And if you've ever heard me teach or listen to this podcast or had me coach you before, you know that I will forever and a day always, always, always encourage you when you're trying to figure anything out, big or small, you should always do that on paper. It helps us see things more clearly. It helps us rearrange things more clearly. And really, it helps us find the best solutions when we can see everything right in front of us. I always say, if it doesn't work on paper, it's not going to work in life. And so putting it on paper can help us find the most effective solutions in the quickest way possible. Again, because we're looking at everything all at once and we're able to see, you know what, I need to tweak this a little bit more because it's just not going to work this way. If we're constantly trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and just take action, we're always having to take action and tweak it and try again and tweak it and try again. I'd rather try again on paper. All right, so you're plugging in the details of what I thought things would look like, how I thought things would go, what I thought my afternoon would be comprised of. The next set of details you're filling in is what it looks like now. What has happened? Well, I've now got 2 hours less because I didn't count on the washer overflowing and needing to clean up that mess, or I didn't count on having a sick kid overnight. And so now I'm exhausted and I'm going to have to change the way that my day laid out. I'm going to have to give myself different tasks. I'm going to have to give myself less involved tasks. I'm going to have to build some rest into my day. I'm going to have to just treat myself and others with more grace based on what has happened. So, what's the details of what you thought things would look like? What do they look like now? The next set of details you're going to fill in is what can stay the same. In my example of having the sick kid overnight, what of the way that you had your day originally kind of mapped out and planned, what can stay in place? Some of it likely can. But then there's also going to be those details of what needs to change. Maybe you gave yourself some tasks today that really required a lot of bandwidth, that required a lot of brain power, that required your ability to focus. And you know that based on the amount of sleep you didn't get, well, that's your focus is going to be in short supply. So you would start filling in some of those details. And as you kind of put your details in these 4 different sections, your new plan will kind of emerge. So once you have all of these categories filled out, now you're going to say, what is my best plan of action going forward? This is my new plan. This is my plan B, or maybe your plan E or F or G. But this is how I'm still going to be able to finish my afternoon with intention. This is how I'm going to be able to spend my day doing some things that really do matter because I've decided how I'm best going to do that in spite of the things that have happened, in spite of those unplanned circumstances and situations and problems that I've needed to figure out. The fluidity of life is a real thing. And it is going to be a constant. It is going to be a constant reality that you are going to have to take into account. And when you have the skill of reassessment, you don't have to be stressed out about when things don't go your way because you have a formula to say, you know what, that happened. All I can do is accept it. Here's what I'm going to accept, but I don't have to accept that I'm waving the white flag and saying, well, I guess things aren't working out anymore. I guess I'll try again tomorrow. That's what we don't want. The skill of reassessment is going to allow you and really give you the ability to still spend your day in meaningful ways. It's going to help you still be able to be intentional in some of the ways that you spend your most valuable resources, like your time, your energy, your bandwidth, your mental focus. It's still going to allow you to make sure that life isn't happening to you. We call that spending your time in the backseat, and that you're taking back control of what actually is happening. We call this getting into the driver's seat. And the skill of reassessment is going to help you do that. Weren't those amazing RE words? So powerful. Again, make sure you have these written down somewhere so that you can find them when you need them, so that when life finds you with your emotions getting heightened, when you find your anxiety level rising, when you find your frustration level rising, when you find yourself losing patience with yourself or others, maybe you need a reset. Maybe you even need a recovery. And when life is just not going at all the way that you had planned, or maybe even a little bit of the way you had planned, when you find yourself just kind of wanting to check out, call out the skill of reassessment. These are going to be so helpful for you in your daily life. See what I mean? Aren't RE words so great? These are just 3 of the RE words that I have. I'm sure I'll share more going forward. But for now, keep these 3 somewhere where you can find them, where you can access them, so that you can help diffuse yourself and again, bake some intention into your daily life when life goes a little haywire, which for most of us, there are plenty of opportunities for that to creep in and happen. In the next episode of the Intentional Mom podcast, we've got a guest speaker coming up, and I will be so excited to share that with you. Until then, I'll keep you in suspense on just who that will be. Make sure you join us for the next episode of the Intentional Mom podcast.